In this video, we'll be discussing why this chart at this point is the most important for us to be looking at in the markets right now. We'll also be talking about our technical analysis levels for the SP 500, Nasdaq, Bitcoin, gold, silver, Tesla, and more. Yesterday was possibly one of the most insane days we've ever seen in cryptocurrencies, with massive systemic illiquidity coming across the board. What does the future hold for cryptos and the stock market now? Stay tuned. Well, guys, I can just say again that crypto was wild yesterday. We were live streaming 1.5 hours before the stock market opened, and of course, it was just insane. The movements that we were seeing across the board shows why sometimes it's good to have a halting market. Here's a heat map of what went on into the stock market, though. Of course, Tesla was down off the news of cryptocurrencies fall. As far as we know it, Tesla still holds, of course, some Bitcoin. Then we also saw some interesting stuff. AMD announced a share buyback. We had CRM as well having a green day, but you can see it's very mixed. It started red, and then it came through with much stronger price action. If we take a look at the indices, as we always like to do, here's the redness in the morning. And as we theorized throughout the day, we expected a bit of buying potential up to a resistance that we'll be talking about through this video. So just because you see this nice green day where things have recovered from the morning doesn't mean we're out of the bear territory yet. This is actually just a pull up to a resistance zone we'll be talking about soon. In terms of the sectors that did well, technology actually had the best rotation into it. We had a mixture of things. We had technology, utilities also coming in with some strength into the end of the day. And the actual two favorites at the moment, energy, materials, those types of ones, were down the most. So not too much to see there. Earnings data, 78% beat still, so not too bad. And I think we want to go back to this chart and just theorize what we were talking about on this channel at the end of April. So we thought that May would be a lackluster month. It has a tradition of kind of being that sell in May and go away. We also were tracking very heavily from the perspective of what happened from the GFC to now, and what happened to, of course, the pandemic to now. It was a very similar track on the charts. So are we going into a bit of wavy action for the next couple of months with the strength into the end of the year? It kind of looks like it, and I'll explain one thing, and I think the first one is tax. So basically we have tax coming in the US. Now we know that there's a negative 5% correlation ahead of taxation in the US, a negative 5% correlation with the SP 500. Now, straight after the tax, there's a positive 5% correlation. So as soon as it's announced and everything's going through, then all of a sudden the market goes bullish. This falls perfectly in with our plan and our current strategy. It's a very interesting chart, and it's great to bring that up. And of course, we've been following that really, I guess, for the month of May. We've kind of seen bearish action. We were always optimistic on the market, but we knew that something could be around the corner. So let's start off with the technical analysis. Let's go through this volatility index. We saw a volatility spike. Because the market did pull up throughout the day, volatility did come back down, but I could expect this to actually spike again tomorrow, possibly as we get more news out of the crypto market and exactly what the hell went on there, because that was a huge move yesterday and it could have some systemic effects. Remember, we basically wiped well over $1 trillion off the market, and while it's recovered somewhat now, there was a huge amount of margin getting hit. We don't know the full ramifications of that just yet. I'm sure we'll find out over the next week. Dollar index breaching the 90 zone, finding a little bit of strength here. Let's go down to the 4-hour chart and have a look at it. So we thought that this 90 could act as resistance. Obviously, we're always looking for more action there in terms of lightning bolts on timeframes. We didn't get it. It's broken above 90, showing that maybe there's a little bit of risk off in the markets, and this is a precursor. So from the dollar index perspective, we're actually seeing a decent amount of liquidation into the US dollar, and that could mean again that the bears are just about to start to push the market back down again. From the next movement, I wouldn't take anything from this. There's no high kind of trades or high quality trades. Some traders will be buying at the 90 and I'm sure trying to take it up. If it takes out this high, I think then we move to the 98.5. We'll continue to watch the dollar index. Nothing much else to go over there. We'll move on to gold. So gold was a beneficiary yesterday. 1851 or 1850 was breached or hit. If we take a look at what our expectations were, we actually thought it would come down to around 1845. Hit the 200 simple moving average and then move up. It did so earlier because I think of the instability of the crypto market. That sent it actually really high and it went to 1890. So gold's now going to move towards 1900. It looks pretty bullish and it looks pretty good sentiment. If we take a look at something like the daily and we scroll this out a little bit, you'll notice that our main targets were 1900 and then after that 1960. The bullish is still intact, and as soon as we close above this long leg doji on something like a daily, what's that going to mean? Decision made. We should smash through 1900 and go towards the 1960. Gold remains a really good trade for the channel, and I'm happy for many of you out there that have got this one. Let's move over to silver. Silver is right on support. You'll notice here, again, was a beneficiary a little bit yesterday, then it came back down. Multiple wick purchases here. So imagine if we get slightly higher than this wick up here. What is this price? Let me get that for you right now. 27.91. I think if we get a closure above there, all of these wicks, which have shown us buying momentum, will be coming through. And really what that means is there's a huge amount of accumulation here on the 50 exponential on the 4 hour. And if we get a closure above this zone, I could see it going back up and testing the 28.60 and possibly then moving towards, you know, the zone we're talking about, the 30, the 30, the 30, the 30 for silver traders. This is the high you want to take out. Once that's taken out, 30 almost becomes a formality from a technical analysis perspective. And we keep going on. Trend line as well through the bottoms here. We're very close to that on silver. So yeah, it's pretty nice stuff on both of those commodities. All right, guys, let's talk about the madness. Wow, this was... I'm almost still in amazement. I actually went quiet last night when we saw Polkadot and others just getting obliterated. Some coins got dominated like 70%. A lot have recovered somewhat by now, but we're still very heavily down. And altcoins have actually been the biggest kind of failing. I mean, we've got Ethereum trading 2356, still not bad. Got Cardano 148 at the time of this recording, DOT 25, Link 25. I mean, which one is safe? Nothing really. In fact, Bitcoin held up the best, and you expect it to do so. I think that this is a big problem. So basically what happened yesterday is you saw a huge amount of dumping that caused probably liquidation within a lot of leverage that's in the system. That liquidation then caused instability of liquidity because what happened was all the networks went down. So we were looking at it live and every one of the networks where people were trying to deposit money and put them in was crashing and you couldn't get in the system. Now, because they don't have freeze locks or holds on the system, effectively what that means is it creates a free flow of no lines being there. So when we were looking at this live, we knew that as soon as the systems came online, we were going to get a bounce. It was almost, if you had money there, you had the opportunity. But of course, it was going to be semi-short-lived, and that's what's happened in the crypto market. A lot of these cryptos have gone up, but then they've started coming back down again. So BTC quickly repriced to 40,000 and then came back down. I think for BTC to really strengthen here, we need to see it get above 40,000. We need to see it take out these lower highs and actually break through that and show us that it does have some form of stability. At this point, it's kind of like gambling. I mean, where are you going to pick it up? Are you going to pick it up here? And then if you're investing in it, okay, well, maybe you like it and you think it's great, but it could easily go back down to 30, if not lower. So you're looking for a 40,000 plus closure on a significant time frame, 8 hour or better. And then you're looking for it really to get above this trend line down. And I'm actually looking for it above 46,000. I don't think it can repair itself correctly until it gets above 46,000. That's a while away still, but this was just such a huge event that it's almost cracked everything that people hold dear in crypto. Things like the halving events, things like the cycles. I mean, if we talk about how far down this was, it's now down around 50%, which is almost unheard of during a bull cycle. So time will tell. It's really just a guess at this point, but a lot of those cyclical things people are doing, it's pretty much gone as of yesterday. I'm not confident in those types of things, and I think that really hurts next time around for when eventually cryptos go through their next blaze. I think this is a big event for a lot of people out there. Let's move over to Tesla quickly because Tesla closed here at 563. It actually went below the 560, but we know on the daily that everything comes back to the 563 or the 560 in general. This is a great important chart because to a lot of people, this looks like a closure underneath. To me, it's not. So what I mean by that is that we have a gap underneath followed by huge bullish momentum that pushes it back above 560. So I don't treat that as a closure underneath 560. Now, it's very similar to what happened before. If we actually scroll over here and we take a look at this chart, remember, we didn't really call that Tesla was going down until this red candle, because this was the first red candle where it gapped and actually held a low underneath the 800. And you can see the domination that happened to Tesla since that point. In fact, I think a lot of big shorters got in on that candle there. And you can just see the power of the short after that. This bullish candle doesn't make me think it's going short just yet. 560 underneath close, that will make me think it's going towards 500 and 450. So Tesla's holding in the balance. It's kind of like AMD at its key level. Let's just bring up AMD here. AMD was at the key level yesterday. They announced, of course, doing a share buyback and saved the level just barely. Because you can see here when you're looking at that buyback, wow, they knew too. I'm almost confident they were looking at it saying, we've got to do something about this level, because if we don't, all of the things are going down and we know we're going all the way down here and we don't want that. So let's fix the deal, let's say. Let's go over to the indices now. So why I said and why the community thinks that the bears could still be in control is this very interesting phenomenon. Yesterday, we opened on support. So it's going to make sense that at least we see buying initially into the day. Then we close right at what should be resistance. So we had, of course, our double top. Our double top confirmed and went to 13,000. So if you were trading the fake futures, then you did fine. Long leg doji, decision, 13,000, easy as. However, now we're back at the point. So we basically have the resistance up here. We had the support, which now acts as resistance in what we call roll reversal. And we're right there at this point in the futures. So where we open tomorrow in the market is going to be very key. I actually think we're going to open around this 13,200-ish level. And we're going to see very quickly in the market in the morning where it wants to go. Let's go over the QQQ and you're going to see the same phenomenon. A big bullish candle. And we scroll down to the 1 hour. And you'll see exactly how it's gone to this level. So it looks bullish, yeah? It looks like the bulls were in control trying to pick it up into the end of the day. However, as we know better than that in this channel. If we close underneath this, so let's say we see a lightning bolt like this tomorrow in the session on the QQQ Nasdaq, basically, as soon as we get underneath these lows, what are we doing? We're taking out little stop losses on the market. Those little stop losses get liquidated, which creates further shorting pressure. And of course, once we get under 316, it becomes a formality that we go to the 12,700 on the Nasdaq, which for the QQQ is going to be around 310. So it's a super interesting time. I would think that the bears are still in control of this market for now, and we just continue to maintain 13,400 on the Nasdaq is where the bulls get full control. Once they close above here, they're back in control, correction over. Because of the basing formation, how it looks right now, it's super strong. It's a great trade. We'll be following on this channel. Remember to subscribe to find out more about that. Let's go over to the US 500. Was it playing the same game? Absolutely it was. It opens low, goes to a 40.60, comes up and tests the magical 41.20. We've got a red box on the 41.20. We know this level. We know it well. Support, 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 support. Broken through, comes back, does test it. Goes a little bit high, false breakouts, why we're watching the Nasdaq more than this one, and then it comes and tests it. At the time of this recording, the futures are trading 41.11. So it's right around there. I expect 41.20 to be found, and basically a resistance to hopefully be found there. And this is what we're looking for, guys. Little lightning bolt, smaller time frame, short, bears get control of the market, push it towards the 30.60, which is going to line up perfectly with the Nasdaq going to a 12.7. It's all harmonious. It's all that kind of thing. Where do the bulls get control of this market? Of course, they close it above 41.84. That's what we're looking for here. Phenomenal stuff. I think the trading is good. I think the trading is good in this market. We go to the SP500, the real market, the SPX here as a code in TradingView. It's the same thing. Where do we close? 41.15. Where do we know the level is? 41.20. Up here, looking for the lightning bolt towards the downside. That's going to bring the bears back in. And we just basically are looking at the Nasdaq. I think the Nasdaq's going to give us both levels. 13.4 for the bulls to take back in control. And we're looking for shorting at the beginning of the market tomorrow if the bears are ready to take this thing back downtown. So I guess I want to leave everybody with this statement today, and that is that you have to expect the unexpected. We saw in crypto yesterday an 87 style crash like I have never seen before. I literally was flabbergasted by how fast the market was taking out lines, and the reason, there was nothing there. And that's the problem with trading some markets. You need to know what you're trading, you need to know how leverage works, and you need to always be in control of your risk. And I think yesterday really brought that up. Will the crypto market recover? I think it could recover somewhat here. And of course, there's always going to be buyers initially, but I'm just wondering whether we've gotten rid of sentiment from the bigger players. And that is the super funds. That is the investors that we really needed to take this market to the next level. So in even corporate America, the next level needs to happen there. So anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, what do you think? Put your comments down below. Have you lost faith in the crypto markets? Let me know. And of course, we'll see you 1.5 hours early before the New York Open tonight. I look forward to having you all there. It's going to be crazy and wild as per usual. See you there.